Imagine stepping outside tonight and seeing Jupiter where the moon should be. Not in a telescope, not in a movie, hanging over your house, filling half the sky. At first, it would look beautiful, impossible, almost fake. But within days, Earth would start dying. And the terrifying part is, the moon might be the only reason humanity exists at all. Most people think the moon is just a glowing rock, something pretty in the night sky. But hidden behind that soft white light is a silent force controlling Earth itself. The oceans, the weather, even the length of your day. Remove it, and our planet begins to lose its mind. But here's the strange part. What if we didn't leave Earth moonless? What if we replaced the moon with another planet from our solar system? Would Earth survive? Or would one wrong choice erase life completely? The answer gets disturbing fast. Let's start small. Pluto. You probably expected chaos, giant explosions, frozen oceans. But Pluto wouldn't look that different from our moon. In fact, from Earth, most people might barely notice the swap. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Pluto is smaller than our moon, much smaller, which means its gravity would be weaker. At first, nothing dramatic happens. The tides shrink, waves become calmer, beaches seem peaceful, but underneath that calm, Earth begins to wobble. The moon currently stabilizes Earth's tilt like a giant cosmic anchor. Without enough gravitational pull, our planet starts shifting unpredictably. Seasons become unstable. Winters could suddenly last years. Deserts could freeze overnight. And that's when things changed. Ocean currents would weaken. Nutrients stop circulating properly. Marine ecosystems collapse. Weather patterns spiral out of control. Not because Pluto attacked Earth, but because it wasn't strong enough to protect it. And somehow, that's only the beginning. Because the next planet looks almost identical to our moon. But hiding behind that familiar gray surface is something far more dangerous. Mercury might be the only replacement Earth could actually survive. And that sounds insane, because Mercury is a planet. The moon is not. Yet somehow, this tiny scorched world could become Earth's safest option. From the ground, Mercury would look hauntingly familiar. Gray, covered in craters, cold and lifeless. Most nights, people might forget it isn't our moon at all. But here's where it gets weird. Mercury is only about 1.5 times larger than the moon. That means its gravitational pull wouldn't completely destroy Earth's tides or rotation. Oceans would rise slightly higher. Days would become a little longer. But civilization could probably adapt. For the first time, humanity survives the swap. At least temporarily. Because the moment we replace the moon with Mars, everything changes. Imagine looking up and seeing a giant red planet glowing over Earth every night. No silver moonlight. No pale skies. Just an endless blood-red glow pouring through your window at 2 a.m. And psychologically, that alone would affect humanity forever. But the real horror wouldn't be in the sky. It would be in the oceans. Mars has stronger gravity than the moon. That means stronger tides. Coastlines would transform into violent disaster zones. Entire cities near oceans could flood repeatedly. Massive tidal surges would hit with terrifying force. And that's not even the craziest part. Earth itself would begin slowing down. Mars would tug harder on our planet, draining rotational energy over time. Days grow longer, slowly at first, then noticeably. Imagine waking up for work, and the sun still hasn't risen because nighttime now lasts 20 hours. Human biology would struggle to adapt. Sleep cycles break. Agriculture changes. Entire ecosystems fall out of sync. But Mars still wouldn't be the worst replacement. Not even close. Because the next planet wouldn't just change Earth. It could turn our world into part of a deadly cosmic dance. And once that starts, there's no escape. Venus might be the most beautiful apocalypse imaginable. At first, people would celebrate. Imagine a glowing white planet dominating the night sky brighter than anything humans have ever seen. Venus already reflects more sunlight than any other planet. Replace the moon with it, and true darkness might disappear forever. Night would never feel like night again. Cities would glow naturally. Shadows would stretch across streets at midnight. The sky itself would feel alive. But beauty can hide something terrifying. Because Venus is far larger than the moon. Too large. And this is where it gets weird. Earth and Venus wouldn't behave like a planet and moon anymore. They would become a binary system. Two worlds locked together, orbiting each other like cosmic partners. Sounds stable, right? It isn't. Most simulations of binary planets end in disaster. Over time, gravitational interactions become chaotic. The orbits destabilize. The planets drift closer, and eventually collide. Not millions of years later. Potentially far sooner than humanity could survive. But somehow, the next planets are even worse. Neptune and Uranus wouldn't just dominate the sky. They would own it. Imagine looking upward and seeing a blue-green giant so massive it stretches across the horizon. Clouds swirling. Storms larger than continents rotating above Earth every night. It would feel less like Earth and more like we accidentally moved onto an alien moon. And that feeling wouldn't be wrong, because these ice giants are around 14 to 15 times larger than our moon. Their gravitational pull would violently reshape Earth's oceans. Tides would become monstrous walls of water. Entire coastlines vanish. Beachfront cities disappear underwater. Humanity retreats inland as oceans repeatedly invade the continents. But here's the terrifying part. The disasters wouldn't stop. Earth's rotation would become unstable. Earthquakes increase. Volcanic activity intensifies. The planet itself strains under constant gravitational stress. And then comes Saturn. The moment Earth stops being Earth entirely. Because Saturn wouldn't orbit us. We would orbit Saturn. And once that happens, humanity loses control of everything. Saturn might be the most breathtaking thing humans ever see. Its rings would dominate the heavens like glowing rivers crossing the sky. Every night would look unreal. Children would grow up believing the universe was designed by artists. For a few moments, humanity would forget the danger. But Saturn isn't just big. It's absurdly massive. And that changes the rules completely. The second Saturn replaces the moon, Earth stops being the center of the system. Instead, our planet becomes Saturn's moon. Read that again. Earth becomes the moon. And suddenly, everything familiar disappears. Our orbit changes. Temperatures shift unpredictably. Seasons break apart. The delicate balance that allowed life to evolve starts collapsing piece by piece. But here's the strange part. Saturn still wouldn't be the worst outcome. Because Saturn is nothing compared to Jupiter. And Jupiter doesn't just threaten Earth. It destroys it. Imagine standing outside and seeing a gas giant so enormous you can't even fit it into your field of vision. Storms larger than continents spinning endlessly overhead. Lightning flashing through orange clouds. The sky would no longer belong to Earth. It would belong to Jupiter. And then the real nightmare begins. Jupiter's gravity is so powerful that Earth wouldn't stay round for long. The side closest to Jupiter gets pulled harder than the far side. Slowly, our planet starts stretching. Literally stretching. The crust cracks under pressure. Volcanoes erupt across the globe. Earthquakes become constant. Entire tectonic plates destabilize. What happens next changes everything. The gravitational stress generates internal heat deep inside Earth's core. The planet becomes geologically violent. Lava fields spread. Ash blocks sunlight. Oceans boil near volcanic zones. Human civilization collapses long before Earth physically breaks apart. But eventually, Jupiter wins. The gravitational forces become too extreme. Earth tears itself apart piece by piece, consumed by tidal destruction. And all of it started with one simple idea: replacing the moon. But the final truth behind this story is even more unsettling. Because maybe the moon was never just a moon in the first place. For billions of years, the moon has quietly protected Earth without anyone noticing. It stabilizes our tilt, controls the tides, regulates ocean circulation, influences weather patterns, even slows Earth's rotation at just the right rate for life to evolve safely. Without it, humanity might never have existed. And that realization changes everything. Because we usually think planets create life through perfect conditions. Water, atmosphere, temperature. But maybe that's incomplete. Maybe worlds survive because of what orbits them. And suddenly, the moon stops looking ordinary. It becomes one of the rarest lucky accidents in the universe. But here's the unsettling part. Most planets probably don't have a moon like ours. Which means many Earth-like worlds across the galaxy may actually be unstable nightmares. Violent climates, endless floods, planet-wide chaos. Worlds where intelligent life never had enough time to evolve. And that raises a terrifying possibility. What if the moon is the reason Earth stayed alive long enough for humans to appear? Not the sun, not the oceans, the moon. And if that's true, than every night you've ever ignored it. You were looking at the single object silently holding civilization together. But imagine if humanity somehow tried replacing it anyway. One wrong choice, and Earth becomes unrecognizable. Pluto slowly freezes the planet into chaos. Mars floods coastlines and stretches time itself. Venus traps Earth in a deadly orbital dance. Neptune and Uranus drown continents beneath monstrous tides. Saturn steals Earth completely. And Jupiter? Jupiter doesn't leave an Earth behind at all. So tonight, when you look up at the moon, remember something strange. That glowing object hanging silently above your head might be far more important than anyone realizes. Because if even one planet replaced it, human history could end before the next full moon. And maybe the creepiest question isn't which planet would destroy Earth, but why our moon is perfectly placed to save it.